first time I can remember anything about that haunted stove that they had at our house. First I'll tell you why they thought the stove was haunted. Down in Birmingham, Alabama, they made some stoves, and this company down there ran their own smelter thing, I guess, and they had molten metal there, and this poor old boy got too close to that, and they weren't as careful in those days as they are now, and when he fell in there, he was vaporized. He didn't suffer. No, he didn't. But let me tell you something. My folks had one of the stoves that that company had made down there. Charles Williams stove was the brand name. And they every morning sometimes I'm going to get up with one of my older brothers, and he'd start up the fire in the kitchen fireplace and the stove. And when it got to a certain place, the hum of the flame in the pipe would send up a sympathetic vibration. Now, you folks are learning a little bit about things like that, so know what I'm talking about. And the bread rack and the stove oven was and they'd say that was the ghost of that poor old boy that died in that metal. And every one of us that was young enough to not realize how to figure out that it couldn't have been that. We didn't know that, and they were all superstitions. I mean, the others were, my dad and mother, and my older brother, he got in on it too. Anyway, about 30 years later, I guess, something like that, Rosalie and I were living in a little house that we had rented, and we had a stove. Now wait a minute, I'm getting behind myself here. It was longer than that. It was in a house that we had bought from a friend, and the stove in the corner started making the same sound, and my hair stood up. I hadn't quite yet hadn't jumped away from the superstition of that thing, when something's kind of ground into you when you're a boy, it hangs home a little bit, don't it, Marshall? Yes. And I thought, now wait a minute. There's no such a thing as a ghost in the stove. Let me see if I can figure out, Lord, what this is. And I got up and eased over and eased that bread of an open door, and that rack was kind of humming and tuning halfway with that hum of the flame and that pipe, and it was going. And I said, well, I'm going out and destroy Mama's ghost for her now. And she said, son, you've killed my ghost. I said, Mama, don't you think after 30-some years it's about time it was dead?
Holy Ghost. You just rode down the road with us and heard one of the stories we hear driving with Doc. In the 1940s, Doc was playing in a band, Jack Williams and the Country Gentlemen, around Johnson City, and they played Elks Clubs and Lions Clubs and dances and things like that. It was a square dance band with no fiddler. So Doc Watson had a Les Paul Gibson guitar, and he would play the fiddle tunes note for note. This is something very unusual. Few people had done that at that time. Now a lot of people can do it, but at that time, nobody did it. And so Doc got all this practice playing for these dances that would go, sometimes 30 to 45 minutes per dance, and they would do medleys of songs. So Doc, let's flat pick one of those great old tunes. What would you like it to be?
Let's do Whiskey Before Breakfast.
All right. Every single has a whiskey before breakfast. They're excited about it.
Somebody's a little young for that,
I'm having it on the bed yet.
Oh, well. Let me get old Cheater in place right here. I'm getting the position where I can play in that B key.